a word?
How about cuz?
Is brang a word too?
Brain?
Find out all about it today on ZiNj-TV.
Welcome to ZiNj, the show where kids rule.
Yep, and that's why we're here. Because we get to do all the cool stuff and maybe learn a few things too.
Finally, a show where grown-ups listen to what the kids have to say.
And speaking of what we have to say, that's what the show's about.
What?
What we have to say.
Say what?
Right.
I mean, what are you talking about?
Right again.
Uh,
Preverbal communication. The beginning of speech.
You know, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
You will. Check this out.
Hungry?
Joining us today on ZiNj-TV is Mark Okren. Good morning, Mark.
A Klingon would never say, "Hi, how are you today?" Klingons are mean, tough folks. What they do say upon greeting somebody is, "Nuk nech." That means, "What do you want?"
Are you the keeper of the Klingon language?
I guess so. I created the language and explained to everybody how it works and so forth. And if there is such a thing as the Klingon Academy, you know, to decide what's really right and what's really wrong about a Klingon phrase, yeah, I suppose that I'm that person.
How did the Klingon language first start?
The first time we hear it is in Star Trek: The Motion Picture. At the very beginning, there's 3 Klingon ships going by that one by one get zapped by some strange force field. But before that happens, we hear the commander, the captain of the lead ship, speaking in Klingon, and that's where it began.
Did the movie or the language come first?
The language was actually created for the movie. Okay, I didn't have a whole language in mind, and then go to the producers and say, "Hey, you know, let's have a Klingon language." They came to me, and we decided that the best way to do that was to not just create funny sounds or strange sounds, but to come up with a real language with vocabulary and grammar and everything else. So I had a copy of the script, went through the script, translated all the lines that were supposed to be spoken in Klingon into Klingon, and in fact translated a bunch of lines that were supposed to be spoken in English into Klingon, and then spent a month or so in Hollywood on the set with the actors, and taught them how to speak and so forth, so they would get it right.
Is there an alphabet in the Klingon language?
There's a Klingon writing system that consists of these very weird-looking characters. They're these funny shapes, and on a Klingon ship, you see them all over the place. There's also a way to transcribe the Klingon language using regular English letters. Okay, that's called a romanization system, using letters based on the Latin alphabet. And that's what I use. I use that romanization system, and that's because the actors don't read Klingon, but they do read English, so they can figure out the way to pronounce the words on the basis of these letters.
Is the vocabulary large enough to use it for a whole day?
The vocabulary of Klingon is pretty extensive, but not absolutely complete. So every once in a while, you'll run into a situation where there's just no word.
Is it a growing language, and are there new words?
Yeah, the language is growing all the time, mostly by putting together pieces that already exist. From time to time, I'll get a call from somebody who needs a word or a phrase that they just can't figure out on the basis of the material that's available to them. So I'll create a new word. I try not to do that too much because the word has to be spread to everybody. Otherwise, this word doesn't do anybody any good.
So if someone adds a word to the Klingon language, do they have to ask you first?
Yeah, it depends who the someone is. If the someone is a fan or someone writing a novel or something like that, I suppose I have a little bit of authority over that. On the other hand, if the someone is someone writing the screenplay for a Star Trek TV episode or the movie, they sort of have authority over that. And new words are added all the time in that way, too. On Star Trek: The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, from time to time, they'll have to come up with something in Klingon that's just not, hasn't been uttered before, or that I didn't write about in a book or put on a tape or something like that. And they'll create up new vocabulary then. And sometimes that vocabulary is real good, and I'll accept that and incorporate that. And sometimes, I guess what that vocabulary is Klingon from another part of the Empire.
How did you come up with all the different sounds in Klingon?
The sounds of Klingon, okay, come from a number of sources. They come from a little bit of Klingon that was spoken at the beginning of Star Trek the Motion Picture. I had to incorporate all of those. Harv Bennett, when writing the script for Star Trek 3, refers to guttural Klingon, so I had to include some guttural sounds in it. And we also had this notion of Japanese samurai warriors, the Klingons as Japanese samurai warriors, you know, riding around on their horses, although the Klingons don't ride horses, so it's a little kind of Japanesey and Oriental influence.
Are there dialects and accents in Klingon?
Oh, sure. The Klingons, you know, Klingon is a Klingon empire, so it consists of a number of different parts, and in different parts of the empire, they'll speak slightly differently.
Are there swear or slang words in Klingon?
Oh, sure. Klingons are very big on swearing and cursing and stuff like that. That's a highly developed verbal art form among the Klingons. And the better your ability to swear, the more highly respected you are. If you want to say, call somebody a name, okay, you can call them a petak. That's a bad thing to call somebody, or a kodshach. And if you get really angry about something, you hit your thumb or something like that. What you might want to say is, Khutvat. That's the worst thing you can say in Klingon.
Gonol Jok Hol Pajar. A son shall share in the honors or crimes of his father.
Makes me proud to be a human being.
Don't jump to conclusions. And don't you jump anywhere either, because we're going to show you how they translate American films into foreign languages. What the heck is accent? A seasoning? The smell of a hatchet? Or how you say a word?
C, how you say a word.
Jenny! Jenny, dear! Don't forget my dress for the fashion show. We want to look my best now. Jenny, we started our book report. Here's the cover.
Yeah, now all we need is a beginning,
a middle,
and an end.
Jenny, dear!
Hi, honey.
Are you feeling blue? What's wrong with being blue?
Well, where should I start?
If you're a teen dealing with stress, there's help. Visit the Will Rogers Institute website for a free booklet about teen stress and how you can de-stress your life.
Right.
Every day, computers help our lives and businesses run smoothly. And every day, they're potential targets. Viruses, spyware, and scams are relentlessly being updated, making it easier for hackers and thieves to steal information and control your computer. Protect yourself. Get in the habit of keeping your cybersecurity up to date. Learn how at StaySafeOnline.org today.
Aha! A place kids can't go. Let's go. Is ain't a word?
Well, it's not a word I'd use.
If it's in the dictionary, do you think it's a word?
Well, it's a slang word.
Do you think ain't's a word?
Yes, I do.
Do you say it?
Yes, I do.
Do you think ain't's a word?
No.
Is ain't a word?
No.
Is ain't a word?
I don't know.
You don't know? Do you say it?
Not all the time, but sometimes.
It's in the dictionary.
Is ain't a word?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you say it?
Yeah, sometimes.
What do you think it means?
Like, you ain't gonna do nothing. Like, if you don't want to do something, you say you ain't gonna do it.
Can I talk to you?
Sure.
Is ain't a word?
No, not at all.
Well, if people say it, doesn't it mean it's a word?
Well, it could be true, but I would say that it's not something that's proper. It's not used properly in the English language.
What makes a word a word?
Gosh, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess because we use it. But what goes back to what you say. Anything could be a word if you say it. However, there are proper ways to use words and words that aren't properly used.
That's what kids and teachers think about ain't. Ain't you glad you ain't alone?
Hey, want to hear the Swan Princess speaking Spanish? Through this door is where all kinds of language magic happens. Come on.
Hi, come on in. This is Mr. Canals.
You can call me Omar, Jessica.
Oh, okay. First of all, I want to know, how do they translate the English movies into other languages?
It is a fascinating thing. It is not as hard as a lot of people think it is. We received the script from the production company. This script, as you can tell, has a lot more information that we need to provide the translation. It has all the indications for the shooting, but that is already done. As you can see in the videotape, we receive also a video copy to tell us exactly what is going on. And so by viewing the video and looking at the script, first of all, before we start translating, we add things like R's. They stand for reactions. A reaction could be a whoops. That is not in the dialogue, but we need to mark it so that when the character, the actor in Spanish or in French or in Russian goes to the studio, he knows that he has to make some kind of a reaction in there.
Querida Huberta, encantadora como siempre.
Once we have all that information, there are sometimes lines missing. And once we have all the script in English marked, we start the translation process. Here you can see the Spanish Swan Princess script with all the reactions, Jessica, that remember that we were talking about, except that instead of reactions, it says reacción. That's the word in Spanish. And this is what the actors use in the studio when they have to do the ADR.
Un día, para su felicidad, le nació una hija, una princesa.
What is ADR?
I'm sorry, Jessica. ADR stands for Automated Dialogue Replacement. In the video, there are several tracks. And in each track, there is something else recorded. It's English. You have music and effects. That is called M&E. And then there is an empty track where we record the Spanish. And once we record the Spanish, we take the English track out. We mix the Spanish with all the sound effects. And that is what you see in the theater.
Hola, Princesa Odette. Mucho gusto en conocerte. El gusto es mío, Príncipe Derek.
Do you translate every word exactly?
No, Jessica, that is not possible because in Spanish is a much longer language than English. What takes you just a couple of words to say in English, it takes you maybe 5 or 6 to say it in Spanish. So what we translate is the meaning of what the character is saying. And we try words that will match the lip movement.
Well, what happens when you can't find words to match their lip movement?
Well, that creates a problem sometimes, and we try as hard as we possibly can. But if we have to sacrifice something, it is better to sacrifice a little bit of synchronization than the meaning.
Por otro lado, la vida de un rey está llena de duras decisiones. ¿Tú entiendes? Ah, estás de nuevo enojada conmigo, rayos. No hay nada que haga yo bien, cabeza de chorlito. ¿Qué soy?
We try to say the same things in Spanish or in whatever language we are going into that the character is saying in English. So lip synchronization is important, but the most important thing is the message.
What about the names? Are they the same in Spanish as they are in English?
The names, that is a very interesting question. Well, Jessica, let me tell you, there are some names that we can keep in English, like William, Huberta, Derek, Odette, the main characters. But then there are some other characters like the turtle. In English, the name of the turtle is Speed, and that means something funny. A turtle is never fast, so it was given the name of Speed. In Spanish, we came up with the name Veloz, which means fast. See, it creates exactly the same impact in Spanish as in English. So some names we have to change, some others stay.
Do you translate the songs the same as you translate the story?
No. Let me tell you something, and I hope you don't think I'm bluffing here. But you need to be a little bit of a poet to translate songs, because the lyrics, the words have to rhyme just like in English. You have to say the same thing. It has to create the same impact. And there's a completely different process for translating songs. It is much more complicated.
Pero un día, para su felicidad, le nació una hija, una princesa, a quien se le dio el nombre de Odette.
J.R.R. Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings because he wanted to make a language for elves. Read it.
Horseradish. Is that for horses? Remember me, Mr. Lobster? From last Tuesday?
Banana. Banana. Banana.
Here comes the rain. We need a hat. And why do we need a hat?
It's ZiNj.
That's right.
When you talk with your child, you build vocabulary, and learning starts long before school does. For more tips, go to bornlearning.org.
Jenny dear! Don't forget my dress for the fashion show. We wouldn't want to look my best now. Jenny, we started our book report. Here's the cover.
Yeah, now all we need is a beginning,
a middle,
and an end.
Jenny dear!
Hi, honey. Dad called and he said...
Are you feeling blue? What's wrong with being blue?
Well, where should I start?
If you're a teen dealing with stress, there's help. Visit the Will Rogers Institute website for a free booklet about teen stress and how you can de-stress your life.
Right.
For your free booklet on teen stress, visit the Will Rogers Institute website at wrinstitute.org or call toll-free 877-957-7575.
How do you de-stress your life? Like this.
A great way to experiment with language is to play the game Gossip. Let's try it with the word onomatopoeia, which means a word that imitates a natural sound, like buzz or kaboom.
What?
Onomatopoeia.
Okay, folks, today we're going to be doing a little bit about languages and dialects and how they sound and why they're different and why they are like poetry and why they are fun. Hello, mate, how you doing here?
Fine.
You from England, right?
Yeah.
You're a bobby?
Yeah.
A bobby wears a hat like that. That's a British policeman in London. When they say hello in London, if they're a Cockney, they don't use the H. They say what?
Hello.
Hello. But use a little bit of an accent like that, like you're inquiring, wanting to know what's going on. Say hello.
Hello.
Okay, let's go over here to this fellow who came in from Australia just to talk to us today. When you're in Australia and you want to say good day, you combine it into one little bitty expression and you say, good day.
Good day.
Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
How you doing here?
How you doing here?
How's your billy bong? Do you know what a billy bong is?
No.
You know what a kangaroo is?
Yeah.
All right. You know where you come from, man, with this little hat here?
Jamaica.
Hey, man, look this way because I want to show the people the hat. You know how they make this hat? They take the palm tree and they take the strips from the palm and they make it into the hat. When they talk in Jamaica, they talk in pidgin. It's like, hey, man, where you want to go? What does that mean?
Where do you want to go?
Exactly. So I see you later, man. Give me 4. 4. It's inflation. I don't have 5. Okay. Hold on there, good buddy. We're going to be talking about accents and dialects today, and I reckon from your hat that you from the South. Is that right?
Yeah.
In the South, when we say words, we make words real long. Say hi.
Hi.
See, if you was from Utah, you'd say hi. Hi.
Hi.
But if you were from Georgia, you'd say hi.
Hi.
All right, you got it. Now, if you were to say, how are you, from the language where you speak, you would say, how bu how.
How bu how.
Very good. Perfect. That means very good. How, hen, how. In Chinese, you know how you say sh, like you would say shh. Okay, say shh. In Chinese, it's hs, though. The h comes first, and you go sure. Sure. Say that.
Sure.
Okay, perfect. And now you can say goodbye in Chinese, which is sai qian. Next up, we're going to talk to a fella here who is obviously from the West because I recognize his big hat, his 12-gallon hat here, which is 2 sizes bigger. Where you from there, partner?
Wyoming.
Wyoming, what's your name?
Tex.
You got a... Why are you from Wyoming if your name is Tex? How many cows you got?
7,000 head.
Well done there, partner. Now, what do they say in the West that they don't say in Ohio? And when they say thank you in Idaho, what do we say?
Howdy.
No, they say you bet. Tex say, we'll try it. I say thank you.
Thank you.
No, you say you bet. I say thank you. Thank you.
You bet.
You bet. All right. When the French man laughs, he goes, Can you laugh like that? No, because you're a French woman. Oui? Say oui. Okay, can you count to 3 in France? Un, deux, trois. But you have to be very, very sultry in French, right? Okay, say. You know how the Mongolian people talk? Neither do I. Okay. Meine. Where are you from, please?
Germany.
Okay, Germany. How do you say hello in Germany? Big eights.
Big eights.
Big eights, like little
eights.
sevens. Big eights. That's the easy way to remember that. Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
German people very, very particular about the pronunciation of the words. They don't say the W the way we say the W. You don't say Wagner when you talk about the musician, right? You say Wagner. Wagner. Okay, auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Jawohl. Okay. Now, this is Russian man, our new friends with all the walls down, and we're all friends now, right?
Yeah.
Ja, da.
Da.
Da. D-A, da.
Da.
Okay, Russian people talk It's hard to understand, right? Because it's very difficult for us to pronounce words like that, right?
Yeah.
The same way when the Russian person listens to us talk, they cannot understand us at all. But some of the Russian words are very beautiful, and we're going to use a very pretty one to sign off this segment. And we want all of you to join in the group here on 2, 1, 2.
In Russian, the word for world is the same as the word for peace, mir.
Every day, computers help our lives and businesses run smoothly. And every day, they're potential targets. Viruses, spyware, and scams are relentlessly being updated, making it easier for hackers and thieves to steal information and control your computer. Protect yourself. Get in the habit of keeping your cybersecurity up to date. Learn how at staysafeonline.org today.
Hello, Dr. Freeze. How are you today?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Well, thanks for taking some time to talk to me about languages.
Oh, glad to do it.
How's a language like a tree?
Well, actually, linguistic relationships are represented by what linguists call linguistic trees. This is the family tree of the Proto-Indo-European family of languages. Here's Latin down here, and one of the daughter languages of Latin is Spanish.
¿Qué hiciste ahora? Nada. ¿Nada? No. ¿Tú qué hiciste ahora?
And one is French.
Les jeux sont presque pareils qu'aux États-Unis. Les jeux sont comme le football, mais pas le football américain, le football européen.
Both of them are descended from Latin, but Latin is also related to a lot of other languages that we might not consider. The Celtic languages, the Germanic languages, which includes English, the Slavic languages. The best known of the Slavic languages for an American, I guess, would be Russian.
Да, в основном, я бы сказал, да, здесь просто больше есть возможностей для детей, больше игрушек, больше всего, чем в России. Но, в принципе, дети остаются детьми.
The languages of northern India, the languages of Iran, and Greek. All of these languages that belong to this linguistic family are all developed from a single language that used to be spoken, well, linguists guess about 6,000 years ago.
So what's your definition of language?
Language is defined, at least by me and by most linguists, as the communication system of human beings. It's the communication system that's naturally and relatively quickly learned by human children.
Broadcasting, computer casting, veterinal art lady niegav, nev pantuchtin mechen panel schnetzing, dun yega ha hakvetza hos yega bavais korkidere.
What is the basis of all language?
The basis of all language is the human brain. It's the thing that determines the form that human languages have and determine all the parts of that all human languages have in common.
So in what area of the world do you think language began?
My archaeologist friends assure me that it happened in West Africa.
Can you possibly find clues about how an ancient people lived by the language they spoke?
Oh yes, definitely. One of the best places to look for clues of earlier lifeways is in vocabulary.
How does slang develop?
Slang probably develops among young people, among teenagers, and then as they get old, they keep their old slang words. I still say cool, for example. But this development of slang is one source of new words or new meanings for old words in human language.
Cool.
That's all in language. So long.
So, you don't use much slang words?
Nah, 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 nah.
Oh, okay.
J.R.R. Tolkien.
Is ain't a word?
How about cuz?
Is grunge?
How about that was kind of weird.
I got the whole wide world in my hands.
Wow, didn't you translate the Klingon language characters? Wow, wow, wow.
Yes, it was so cold.
It was so cold that... Bump.
You know, I'm a romantic.
You can't mean...
El gusto es mío, Príncipe Derek.
You can't.
This is your second officer, Lieutenant Clank.
That's enough, good heavens.
Cool.
And I'm proud.
Hurry, get back.
They've just finished translating Hamlet into Klingon, and they're working on translating the Bible into Klingon. And they talk to each other in Klingon, both face to face, but even more so in writing, because they're all connected to the internet.
请问彭朗宾，请你找一下彭朗宾好吗？
Trojan